Good day, good day. Good day is a good Sunday. The first of the month, new month, June 1st, 2025, the sixth month of the year. And today is June 1st, the first Sunday in June. It's good to be back on the closing argument on this Sunday. And tonight we have a special guest, someone who I followed for a long time back in my days in Liberia. In fact, he knows me well. He knows my whole family. He worked when I was hunting. I think I was in kindergarten when he was working in Firestone. But he's a household name. His president also one of the mentors to the former president of Liberia, President Weah. He was a former team manager of Invincible 11 IE, and he knows the whole story about Lone Star, IE, Barrow, all this stuff. He's a Liberian historian too. A lot of things he will tell you. He will tell you tonight. You'll be surprised. He knows a lot about Liberia and so forth. And so I've been behind him to at least come and spend a Sunday with me at least an hour and a half or so, just to keep it going. Nothing really happening right now. All the noise over for the House of Representatives, the Speaker impasse over, my election over. Now all we're seeing happening now is back and forth. People just trying to say which government did well, which party this. But so we just want to keep the time going. So tonight I've invited Mr. George Kehleboe. He's the former team manager of IE, also in Liberian soccer. And he was team manager for IE during the days of President Weah. And he knows him very well. If you tell us, President Weah journey from IE to Tonnerre and so forth. And he knows all the top players that played football during the President Weah days. So he knows a lot about history, Liberian soccer history. And questions, we'll open the lines. You can ask him questions too about Liberian soccer, whatever you want to ask him about soccer in Liberia. He's not a politician, and he don't want to be involved in politics. I've been trying to, but every time we talk, I try to, but he's very, 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 very knowledgeable about our country. He even knows the president, the president today, President Boaka. He knows a lot about him too. It'll be an interesting conversation tonight. So let's get it going. I will just now bring in Mr. Kehleboe. Mr. Kehleboe, George Kehleboe, it's good to see you, sir. How's the family? How's your health? How's everything at your end?
Tomalin, we are all fine. Everybody's doing good, and we're just here eating some cassava leaf today.
Wow.
So, that's the situation. And thanks for
cassava leaf, but when we were growing up, I'm sure you know, because they said back in the days, we couldn't eat palm oil on Sunday.
Well, yeah, you see, but the average Loma man eats palm oil every day. I can tell you that. The average Loma man, if you cook and you don't put oil, you got some problems.
Wow.
Yeah, the palm oil and palm wine are famous in the Lofa County area. But anyway, thanks for the intro. I watch your program all the time. I know you're a big Barrow fanatic, and I also know that your old man was all tied up into that Barrow thing because the Bassa people took that thing very, very serious and personal. So I was in Habel when IE went up. I was in Habel when Barrow would go up there to play. And they had a guy called Joseph Duo. He used to love football. But he was an IE fan. So whenever Barrow came up, he would do everything he can do for us to beat Barrow. So just to say a little more about my own side, I didn't play for the Invincible 11. I played for a team called SIE, which was a junior side to Mighty Barrow. And SIE was owned by Mr. Sherman.
Lemuel Sherman.
No, Lemuel was captain, but there's a Bassa man in the Fairmont area they called Mr. Sherman. They all used to work at the mansion. And I've realized that these guys were all trying to recruit us for Barrow. So I left. One or two of your guys that were in Firestone with you, like Raw Chinning and Coca, I took them to go and play. But I was heading to the Invincibles.
Wow.
I became a fanatic of the IE team in 1970 when I met a friend of mine in high school called Mabu Riches.
Mabu Riches, yeah. I know Mr. Riches. Where is he now?
He's currently in Maryland.
Okay.
Mr. Riches and I would sit in a classroom and would just draw football formation because he loves football more than anything you can think about. And so we parted our ways and he came back. But we had one objective, and that was to help footballers, irrespective of what the situations were. Somebody might come out and say, oh, football was a Grenade game, it was this, it was that. But Tomalin, the people had no jobs. They had to keep themselves busy. So we'll go back to the Cycle brothers, Garrison and George, who was so famous in Liberian soccer, especially after the Great Ghana Black Stars game. And thereafter, all the open lots in Liberia were used, but these guys who had nothing to do, coconut plantation, the graveyard. We played in the graveyard with a guy called Richard Gay. He cleaned that graveyard. Then the Haywood Mission Field, and then you had City Baking, and you had a demonstration. Peter Bonanjala will provide the ball. Peter Bonanjala Jr. And so people would sit back and wait all day. And after those practices or so forth, you could get maybe a dime or a nickel because Coca-Cola at that time was 10 cents and a loaf of bread was 5 cents.
Wow.
This is what most of the guys were going to see if they can get that 15 cents on a daily basis. Peter, Mabu, a guy called Nathan Ross, if you ran into them, you show up getting a quarter. So then Mabu's father had organized the Invincible 11, and he was busy with government. And Sam Bonner, who was a former player of the Invincible 11, took it. It hurts me today. That's why I came on this podcast, so that we can
go ahead.
So that we can dig deeper. Sam Bonner educated most of those guys from what we call the slums era, whether it was Wellheston, ETMI, or Charlotte Torber.
But let me just interrupt you quickly, right? I want to know this story. First of all, I know former President Weah, he was with Barrow. He started with Survivors, right? Young Survivor.
Young Survivor,
and then he came up Born Mines, right?
Yeah.
He changed Survivors. Then he joined Barrow. How you guys were able to take him from Barrow? Because I know I watched him play one of the first game in Habel, off-season game. But then, and many people haven't they need to hear that story. How you guys were able to take him? Why he left Barrow? Why he joined IE?
Well, Mabu knew how to scout young players, and that was his dream, like bringing in young 18, 15 years old. He saw him play for Barrow, and after that, he started to push him. And as Guar would put it, I was with IE at the time as team manager, so all Mabu had to do was to just tell me, say, listen, I got a guy coming, but you'll do this. Barrow was an organization that would not accept young players right away. They had to use their old boys. You had to stay on that bench. And George had the kind of skills he had, he knew. So Diba was coming in. So with he and Diba on the same team, I think he knew that the competition was kind of stiff, and then he would not have been able to showcase his talents. So what he did was when he accepted, Willa Russell brought him. At that time, we could register players overnight. Okay. So that was how he came. And as soon as he came, Setoli saw him. We all, honestly, Setoli used that boy. And I can tell you that Setoli really, really worked him. It got to a place one time he said he was leaving I, but we were in a camp on Ghana'sville, and Setoli had worked him. And he just turned to me, he packed a bag, he said, man, I don't have to play this game. And Setoli knew George Weah so much. When he got through, he told me, he said, he's not going nowhere. Let him sit there. So he went because, he was not physical. Okay. So what we did was, as soon as he came in, we blended him with Chiniki and with Lassana Talare.
Oh, yeah, I know Lassana Talare. Yeah.
Those boys they were very talented.
Yeah.
But God, I don't know what happened. Talare is on the old road. Chiniki is in Monrovia. But with the three of them together, it was like watching the Highland Grove Trotters play.
Wow, yeah.
They didn't go in there with that fighting spirit. They went in there to entertain. So that's what led to Mr. Weah, and then Mr. Kamara, whose house we used at times. They were not camping at my house. Mr. Kamara was there trying to, do it the Liberian way. Whatever he needed, you pass it to him. And his wife's name was Masange. I remember that very well. She took care of them. And that was it. And there's a guy that played for IE called Thomas Freeman.
Yes, I think he late now. He's late, right?
Yeah. To this day, I always felt that Thomas Freeman and George Weah were two brothers. That's how close they were. And may his soul rest in peace. T-Free kept him in check. And then, of course, when we brought Boy Charles, then we brought in Boy Cooper. And when Boy Cooper came, Mighty Barrow had complained about Boy Cooper's discipline.
Yeah.
So what we did was we escalated the situation with Paul. Every time we met Paul Marba in the public, we say, oh, that rude goalkeeper, your guy, blah, blah, blah. Paul got vexed and gave him a clearance, and we capitalized on that. Yeah.
So now tell me they when it came to the time for him to leave IE, what happened now? Because I knew that at the LFA 50th anniversary, the guys came basically for James Diba.
Yeah.
But then they decided to, instead of carrying Diba, they carry Weah. What happened? How it changed?
I listened to your show last night, and you said some things that I took note of. And that's who George Weah is. He knows how to attract people and how people can go for him. Barrow was scheduled to play Saturday, and we were supposed to play on Sunday. But Barrow said they had to go to camp. And then, Garguah Yamanto and Grisby.
Yeah, Herbert Grisby.
Yeah. The two of them were big Barrow fanatics. So they just switched the announcement and called Lawrence Doe and said, oh, IE is playing tomorrow. So I said, well, let's go to camp. And I walked over to Lawrence Doe. I told him, I said, what's the difference between Saturday and Sunday? So let's take a shot. In all honesty, I walked to George Weah. I told him, I told George, the first thing he told me, he said, my man, go, I'm going to dribble them. How he talks. He said, I'm going to dribble them. We are talking about winning a trophy. Then you talking about dribbling. And he slept at my house that night. The whole night, while we were there, making noise and cracking jokes, people playing cards. George Weah was there clowning. He's been an entertainer from beginning to end. That's why some things he say, I just look at him in the past. And that morning, we left. We went for practice. When we came back, the stadium was packed to capacity because everybody thought IE were going to be defeated. When we approached the stadium, Baba Gay, in fact, George rode with me, or the president, he rode with me in my car. But that's where the whole thing, after the game. When Baba Gay came to me, he said, look, my man, these guys just coming from World Cup, they're African charm and blah, blah, blah. George Weah got so pissed off with Baba Gay. I don't know where it came from. My man, What do you mean by that? They put 11 with 11. So I said, George, cut this off. There was a guy they called Dustin McCauley.
Yeah.
George, we are cost Mr. McCauley that day. Oh, my man, they're going to be here, they're going to be here. And it was after we calmed him down and he got on the field, we went, registered the team, and Roger Miller asked for Diba. So when he asked for Diba, so I spoke my broken French and I said, this is the premier footballer in Liberia. Because you know that rivalry with we and Diba, we didn't want to see it. So then George shook Roger's hand. But my French was not good. And there was a guy they called Laji Sylvester. Okay. Sylvester came in and he started to interpret whatever Roger was saying. And we got on the field. Lord and behold, George Weah came with that stuff he used to call the double shuffle.
Yeah.
Okay. And when he started that, the stadium went wild, even though we were down 1-0. So Bochas opened up, and then George came with the second goal. And right after the game, he and I were on our way home, but I had a misfortune in my car. So I told George to go ahead, and I went to the hospital with a person. And Laji at that time, he was kind of like trying to get to George. So anyway, the call long matter short. That was how we beat Tonekla of Yaoundé. Then he came back to me. He said that he wanted to talk to me. I said, okay. He came to the house and we were there that night. And he said to me, George, Doe wants to give me a house in the estate. I said, which house? The estate house? He said, yeah. Those houses are like 15,000, 10,000. At that time, 6,000. So I said, George, you got a room here free. You go to Cameroon, try. If it doesn't work out, the only thing they will do when you come back, the population will run after you with cries, and after that will die. So George said, okay. But it was a security agent of Samuel Doe. They called George. That's another George. His name was, we used to call him Cobra. Okay, that was his code name. Real big. George Thomas.
Oh, George Thomas, the big man who's be on hanging Doka.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I remember that guy. Yeah.
George Thomas was in a meeting with Doe when Doe was saying he didn't want George Weah to go. They would give him 15,000, they would do this. So I said to him, he came, he was looking for me, and my house was way in the bush. When he saw it, he found me, he said, look, Neat, let that ball go. So, we had a meeting, he and I, and he said, you know what, I was just sleeping here. He slept there, took his shower, changed his clothes, and then he left. When he left, I was on assignment in Grand there. So that's how come I didn't take the trip. But there was like another journalist called Wimpy, Mohammed Wimpy.
Mohammed Wimpy, I remember. Yeah.
Wimpy and Sedebi escorted him and they went to Cameroon. I don't know what happened in Cameroon. And Josh called me. When he called me, I was not in town. And I said I couldn't make the trip. So that's where we were until he transformed into, he ascended into Paris Saint-Germain. He got to Paris. He came back to Monrovia and there was a money issue. I think one time you asked me that with his signature fee.
Yeah.
That money was paid, but it was given to the ambassador then. I won't call his name.
The one in Cameroon now.
Yeah.
But I think he's deceased now, right?
Yeah, he's deceased.
Yeah, so okay. Carton Cape, I remember. Okay.
Oh well.
yeah.
So he took the money, and when the money disappeared, Carton, Paul, Malba, the money just went that kind of way. And George is the kind of person he can't talk. He just said, my man, you who ate my money, blah, 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 blah. Next thing I look, there was an announcement on ERBC that there was a meeting scheduled at the LFA the next day. So fortunately, George Weah came to practice with us. He came to practice with us, and during the practice, Mr. Cape parked his car across the street, and he came. When he came, he asked for me, and I went to him. He said, I came to see you and blah, blah, blah. This is the thing. So this George was so pissed. But when I walked to him, I said, Georgie, we have a code. We talk with our fingers, the two of us. So when I threw it to him, he just looked at me, he put his head down. I could see that he was mad. But he said to me, okay, what you say? I said, do not go to the meeting.
That one of your player, yo, Kehleboe.
Oh, Jean-Cap Bonavete.
How you call him?
Jean-Cap. But look at his nose. That boy was a master dribbler. Man.
Oh, yeah. I saw him play too, yes.
He's still doing his finger like this. So, yeah, we got there, and I talked to him. I said, look, Carton is your countryman. What I say to you, let it go. And he said, I promise you I will not go to the meeting. I said, okay, thank you. We'll continue the practice. Then Joe Nangwe came and said, but talk to him. And I talked to Joe. He turned around. George used to listen to people before, but all of a sudden, I don't know, is the handling or what? He's not what people think he is. I can tell you that much. From his heart, he's a different person. I'll give you one quick scenario before Mr. Jabo asks me. I know exactly what he's going to ask me. George had not a cheering squad at the intersection of Clareton. Whenever I play a game and I win, he would say, drop me right here. But I didn't know why he didn't want me to reach in. Those kids would be standing there, George, where, we used to give them extra, $5 extra. He would take that money, buy them fried fish, and kill it with him. And they would escort him. So one time I followed him, and I met him with his grandma was still sitting outside. And when we asked her, she said, oh, I'm waiting for my husband. That's the tradition. She had her food. But whatever he bought for her from the street corner, after he gets his food, that's when he will give her either the bread or the kala or the potatoes. And that's how George was into it. And then boy Charles and boy, with this opportunity given me, I will once again swallow my pride because I said I would never have gone back to Georgia because it's like a little brother, a son. He never called me. He calls my wife here and talk to my wife. We go to Florida. He puts her in the best hotel. But what did I do? That's my concern. What did I do? Even when Rodney called me, I really didn't want to talk to Rodney, but Rodney had done his whole homework. Look at Mr. Kamara. These are people that George Weah, the name George Weah. Mr. Kamara is sitting there on the freeway there. I hear he's suffering. He's walking. Okay. Didn't that guy take money from under his bed or leave his bed for Weah then to sleep on? These are the things. So when he got into the political arena, he called here. Frankly, I went to two other meetings. The CDC meeting. One was in Philadelphia and one was in on Staten Island, one D-line. And the other boy that worked, he used to be with the SSS. He got killed in Monrovia. He was in Monrovia. He moved to Monrovia. One named Stene in Philadelphia.
Wait, JB.
JB. Yeah. We had a big meeting and we came up with strategy. Strategy number one. Everyone who had a cell phone at the time, you must call at least 25 persons. And when he's coming to town, we all meet at a SKD stadium all the way to the junction. And it materialized. Okay. But then one afternoon, I went to Mr. Weah to visit him. Like I said, we have a way of communicating. When he look at me, I look at him. He had a different demeanor. So I said, oh, something's going on here. Anyway, he was in the pool. He got off the pool. And we went into the house. He brought the food. And while we were eating, somebody knocked the door. When they knocked the door, he said to me, George, go and find out what they want. I went to the door. And when I got there, yeah, people had gone to ask him to run with Mr. Salif. Okay. And when the person saw me and said, "Oh, I didn't know you were in town. We would not have reached here. We were giving you the information." So I said, "Run for what?" He said, "As vice president." I said, "Okay." I got it clear. There was a lady there called Clara Damida. She was right there. And I went to George and I gave him the message. I don't know how to polish things, and he knows that. So I told him, I said, "They want you to run with Ellen and go to school at night. Okay? While you're in school, then they can ride it with you." George sat down for 5 minutes. The next thing is, "Oh, I don't know book. Did I say that?" And he took it beyond. So I walked out because that was his first time ever screaming at me. So I left. And when I left, I was done with everything. And that was how I was surprised. He talks to my wife. He called her. He and Simon Matam. Simon calls my wife his mom, but he called her and said we had to go to Florida. And we went to Florida for a birthday celebration. His wedding, he told people he gave me invitation. I never received it. His handlers had it. I never received it. Now, he becomes president. He had that young man with, we were at his house one day. Silvio Berlusconi,
Yeah.
Italian president. His daughter called to talk to George Weah. So with that, I saw something. Okay. But he left. We don't speak from 2004. We just wave at one another. He sees my sister, the ambassador, and tell her, "Oh, the papi, blah, blah, blah." So my sister wants to know what's going on. I said, "Y'all just stay on it." I did nothing to this guy. The money that he's like holding back for, that money did not reach to IE, the signature fee, the one from Paris Saint-Germain. It never reached to IE. Kehleboe is on there tonight. He can tell you, I don't play with my players' money. I never. That money never went. And as Guar will put it, the young man that we had called Lawrence Doe,
Former president for IE.
former president. Tomalin, if you don't trust anybody, that one man you could trust with money. The only thing with Mr. Doe was any dime he gives you, you got to get him receipt, which is the norms. So I don't know why it went. Some people say they went to France and they gave them money and they didn't give George any other thing. Man, you were making $7, or $21 a month or $30 with us. Now you're making millions. Then you vex. I would like to extend my thanks to those boys from the basketball team and who are trying to hold the organization up. I mean, we are all concerned. Now, you asked me a question about Borchas. Let me tell you something. Borchas reached out to George Weah. Quote me. Borchas and George Weah, they had a little incident, which I would not go into. Kehleboe, it was a part of it too. He escalated the whole confusion in the place.
Oh.
Kehleboe and Chiniki, I'm calling his name.
Wow.
They escalated the confusion. And George got mad and he hosts it to this day. Okay. I was in Liberia last year. I went to Borchas and I apologized to Borchas on behalf of the IE association because of what we did to Borchas. Today, Borchas is the only one now from the old players that is sponsoring the team. How can this team win a game? Football can be revitalized easy. All George Weah got to do just go to that stadium one time when IE and Barrow play. That place will be packed. But he doesn't even think about it again. Okay, so I don't know. You're in the news media and think we look at George Weah administration. I went to Monroe every month. I never ever went to a house. How he goes to play, you can see 25%. He named the Invincible Park Look on that field. Is there anything there that says Samuel Burnett?
I think because I was there for that program, I was there for the opening, and there are certain parts of that stadium, of that park, named after people. And I think Sam. I can check it, but I know he named several places. This place belonged to, I think, the person. I think Sam Burnett. There were different people that played a role in Liberian soccer. But I got to check it. But I know he named many areas of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I got an understanding that it was a housing unit.
Yes,
The housing unit was named after Sam Burnett. The football pitch was named after Alhaji G.V. Krumah and I think Archibald Bernard. And of course my son Solomon George. And all got it.
Yeah, Solomon George. I was there that day when it
Sam Burnett. I can tell you, Tomalin, whenever you saw I and Barrow on our feet, we spent no less than $4,000. You know how much we used to collect? The maximum I ever collected, George Telewater, was $7,500 when we played a team from Ghana. Okay? They call Kotoko. Okay? We got $7,500. That was the highest. Where the money goes in the LFA, we don't know. People subtract. They subtract their expenses. And when they get done, you can't see the expenses. Okay, I don't know what the government has, the LFA people.
But Mr. Nyenwolo, you know, people, because there was a reason why former president, we have formed young professional. Because, it was shocking, right? Because people felt that, but it was a reason, I think, and Gion Pro became one of the top clubs in Liberia. Okay, but then again, I know when it comes to the transfer fee from IE to Tonnerre, I think at the time the Liberia's ambassador to Cameroon, I don't know what role they play, but I think she wasn't treated fairly in that whole deal, I think. And I don't know whether IE have a role to play in it, but
IE as a club had nothing to do with it. If George Weah can hold anybody for anything, let him tell me or hold me responsible for the role that Lawrence Doe played. Lawrence Doe didn't see one. Look, Mr. Doe was afraid of people money. Okay, the other people, I can't vouch for them. How that money tangled all up. Okay, yes, he was mad. Yes, it disappeared. To this day, you know. But then I paid for it. In the end, he took it off IE. Why?
Well, have you guys have a funny time when SB were living? All the guys were around. You all decided to let meet him and find out what's going on. You guys ever to say let me go and find out what happened?
Well, in all honesty, I never participated in that. I never discussed that with Sam, but it was not an easy thing. George knows, between you and myself, he knows why I couldn't, for me personally, I couldn't go around him when he had another manager. He knows if he wants to be very liberal and flexible, but I could not go into that cycle. But the way Sam suffered for what Sam did for the people, that's why some of us we don't have the capital, Tomalin, even if it's $1,000 or $500 that we could contribute, fine. But you sit there, you see a man who spent all his life supporting these guys. They barely did anything. If you have seen Sam, thanks to Benin Ayure. Thanks to Benin Ayure. Okay? I think Edwin Snow participated in a supportive situation with him. But I do know that Ben made sure that Sam got something to eat. But look at every one of them.
Yeah, because I know Mr. Bonnet, I would give him credit. In fact, my aunt was living around, my aunt Jimama Koki, the late Jimama Koki, she was living opposite him. And when Barrow came from practicing, Barrow was practicing on FE on the Pupu factory. When they come on practicing, they stop their house to drink and eat sometimes. So, and he was somebody who was all the players. Whether you play for Ayo Barrow, once SB, everybody called him SB, he was very nice to everyone. So I know the role he played. I know he was very helpful to most of the players then.
Everybody that played football in that country. In fact, another thing that he did was their parents. Some of the women that you used to see selling around the stadium, he would subsidize their market, but we all turned our back on him. I went to Monroe. Solomon George was driving for him, helping him around at that time, So I look at it like somebody had to go to him. And we were talking about, when I told you about this, you never heard about the UTA Cup. Okay. I played 4 games.
Yeah.
3 times draw. And in the end, I think I won that one. But that was in the 60s. Okay, that was in the 60s. And then after that, the rivalry grew because, what is old man name? G. Henry Andrews.
G. Henry Andrews, okay.
He really promoted football. Okay, because when that man got on that radio and he says, "Man, oh man," when you hear that "man, oh man," you want to know what's going on.
The people calling you to say you must start talking.
I know, So it was that "man, oh man" situation that brought IE and Barrow to where that rivalry started. The barman people came. You asked me one day, I told you, say there were politics in IE. In football, yes. In Liberia, those guys who were supporting other clubs, and if we saw them going too far up, some of them got suspended from their jobs.
Wow.
Okay. Mr. Nimlan used to organize barman here in Carton. Carton was in Mano. Why they sent him way to Cameroon? Because Nimlan alone could not handle it. So barman came. They were bringing those boys from Freetown. Okay. So they were bringing those guys from Freetown. So then we start charging them. Now, you come to the Barrow IE. Barrow had a man. I know the old Barrow people that are around don't want to hear this. They used to call him Jesus. Those guys were beating IE 1-0 every game. So we decided to find out what was going on, whether the referees were doing it or not. And at that time, the thing we call Adona was just coming to Monrovia in football.
What do you call Adona?
That the medicine. So they would say they're going to the medicine man, Adona, you got to go to the graveyard and so forth to go and invoke. And one night, the I people handled the security system of Liberia. It was C. Wellington Cameron, and that man could do anything for IE too. So he put his security team together and they raided Barrow. While they were going in, handcuffed them. And they came, they brought them at the Justice Ministry. At the time, I was upstairs in CWA. I saw them. Ms. George had no clothes on, besides Sky. And straight to post target, they carry all of them. That's why you see certain players of Barrow to this day. There's a guy in Monroe and the LSP, he's still around. Even Nipe, who left for IE, and when Nipe is there, honest Wilfred, and they are the survivors right now.
You see, the guys at Adona mean give me power. Eh? Okay.
That was it. That was it. And there was this guy who was so powerful. The 2 teams used to go to fight to get him. Yeah.
So I know you told me a story. You said one time they let Chairman George, she went to jail with Barrow. What were the cause?
She was with a group that were arrested in Nkuta on Popo Beach. They had gone to their oracle and they were praying the say, and she was there. And so what she did was, when they arrested them, she pulled her strings. Because remember, Cher Todman used to play for Barrow. Then Jimmy Barrow used to be the butler. She contacted those people right away. Then she contacted, they were able to get President Todman to call back and say, you have to release Barrow right away. So E. Wellington Cameron and Ehad and Smite. These guys were top security guys, so they decided that we'll release them, but they must play. And I think at that time, Smite was also LFA chairman now. So that was the situation.
So,
But
President Boyka, President Boyka, CW. I mean,
yeah,
you are CW too with them.
yeah, he was 2 years ahead of me.
Okay, so I mean, you know President Boyka well.
I know him more than well. He's
So,
I think he was at a boat store. My father was the businessman there, and we used to bother him because people think Joseph Baga sleeping. He's not sleeping. Let me tell you something.
yeah.
Everything that you see Joseph Baga doing, I knew you were trying to pull me that way. I will tell you, Joseph Baga is documenting everything that going on in government. One day you will call me. All these investigations that people playing Mango can't hear like this, and then he will sit up and document it in his diary. When you see him talking and he doing his hand like this, there's a message he's sending to you. I'm clean. Defend yourself. Don't depend on Joe Baga to come defend you if you do something. We were bad boys. Harry Brooks, myself. If I tell you somebody think Joe Baga will be sitting there in the bookstore, we try to steal books to go sell, you know. But accountability is his strength. But verbalizing, he doesn't talk. He will just look at you. One wonder why he looks down. We had a man called Rick Cooper. I think that was his mentor, Mr. Cooper. I mean, Uncle Rick. Uncle Rick will not look you in the face. He puts his head down when he's talking. And that where I think Joe Baga picked that off from. That was his mentor. I knew him. I knew like I said, I know some of my first friends in life. So that's the situation.
Including your first girlfriend, all right?
No, just ask the papa he knows somebody they call Catherine Jenkins.
Oh, really?
Just ask me, I beg you. Don't expect to hold our one hand said Joe Baga couldn't hardly hold our hand. That's the first thing. So that's Joseph Baga. Then his son was one boy they called Harry Bro. Harry Bro was the most troublesome kid in CWA then. And Joe Baga used to, he didn't know what to do. But
I want to welcome is this somebody say Captain Jenkins? Hey, JMB, okay.
Okay. He the one?
Welcome, Sarah. Sarah Dupo, one of our panelists says, Sarah, welcome. We have George Tarawoda. George Tarawoda is a former IE team manager. He also a Liberian historian. A lot of historical team of Liberia, he knows it. Trust me, he will tell you, he asking the question, he will tell you all the things that happened, our history stuff. So we decided to just bring on today just to chit chat about Liberian soccer, especially they have declined a whole lot to where it is today. And he's somebody who knows the former president well. He was saying earlier, mentor him when you were playing for IE, with the team manager, and so he knows a lot about our soccer. So that's why we got him on tonight just to chat with him and hear a lot from him. So we can ask him questions and so forth. But before you ask your question, let me just ask him this question up. So two questions before Sarah coming, right? The first one is the election at CWA that brought that how Joe Baga became the student council president at that CWA election, and who was his campaign manager, and how he won, who he ran against. And then the second one is the relationship, what happened between that today people talk about the rivalry between Myean and Bochas. What happened in IE team that affected? I mean, the IE people, they affected the Lone Star or went to the Lone Star. What happened? So, but the Baga on first.
Well, what happened at CWA was that at that time we had a migration of boys from the hinterland, and we had enrolled at the school because it was assumed that the school was for special families. But when we migrated, a lot of us, kept together. We could not go downstairs. We couldn't afford to eat. Peter Wonoke and Biang Big, Belia, all the guys, including Joe, Uncle Joe. Uncle Joe, I don't know if it was a scholarship or what, but he was with Mr. Samala. So Victor Weeks came and told us that the cornmeal that we were buying, the cornbread, was not supposed to be paid for. So the Methodist Church had donated it. So we told Mr. Mattis that we're not going to pay. A group of us who were bandits, we went down there and we started to, cause the chaos. But it happened to be that it was just around the election, and Uncle Joe was running. So what we did was, all the boys that came from Banga, Ganta, into the school, we made a commitment that we would support him. So John T could not go through because John T was the popular guy.
Oh, John T. Richardson.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we look at it like, no, we got to do this. But Victor, which was the guy who really spearheaded it, and Sylvester Grisby was our only spokesman because he and Joe Burger, he was the campaign manager, Gordon Greg. Yeah. So now you talk about the board charts and where I don't want to dive straightly into that on record, but whatever happened there happened. And again, I would say George Weah should have understood that that was the game in the association, whatever the situation was. That's what we all did. We all did. I will not exclude myself from it. Sam Burnett was famous for it. That was the fun. And it happened to be that when he found out what was going on, he and Borchas started going on. But at one another. But another thing with Borchas is Borchas will not, when he's speaking to you, he's speaking like a Harvard student or a Yale student. Oh, where's my lexicon? I want my H2O. Now, you can't go and tell George where you want H2O at that time. George Weah would tell you, say, well, what a man talking. But he did that as a sign of intimidation. He and Wula Brapo, two big mouth people. You see, and George took those things inside, personally. And it just dived into their lives. And we even went to a place one night we used to go and pray, and we try to get a pastor to put them together to no avail. But then, like I said, one morning after the war, George Weah called me and said he was coming to town, to the States. And I said, okay. But Borchas had called and said, I need to talk to you. So I said, what's going on? He said, I want to go to France for a tryout, but I want George to help me out. So I said, oh, no problem. What you do, put us on a 3-way line. And Borchas said, Georgie, if I have done anything to you, let's forget it and put it behind us. Invite me, I will come, I will take care of my own expense. George didn't say a word. He just stayed on the phone, and after everything, he hung the phone up. The next day, he called me, he said, my man, don't bother me, man. So then I knew. Like man said, my owner wasn't living. 2 people were there. 2 people Taylor. She was there with George. So Borchas reached out. And Charlie now, too, he's the kind of guy, you can't push him around. So he just got to a place and said, you know what? If this man can do it, I will do it. So that's why I went and I extended my apologies to him on behalf of the IE Union, because we promoted some people more than Borchas. Some of them started giving him all kind of name, get Charles, this thing. But then later on, he picked up.
Sarah, come in.
Hello. So, hello, Mr. Teller. I want to say thank you so much for the history lesson today. I've been following the show, and I've been, listening to you and all the story about IE and Barrow. I know I grew up knowing about IE and Barrow. Used to go on the ATS to watch the team and all of that. knew we are from a distance, because he and my brother, my little brother, they all used to play on some of our field. So that's how I got to know him. But from a distance, I really didn't interact with him much. But he and my little brother, were close and stuff like that. So I just want to say thank you. But great story. What I wanted to know, I know I heard you talking about President Boakat, and you said that all the time people can be saying, say he's sleeping, he's not sleeping, he's writing, he's jotting down stuff.
Mm.
Do you know at what point he's going to come out? I mean, after he does his diary and stuff. Do you know at what point he comes out? To say stuff from that diary, or to question anything from that diary?
Let me tell you something. Thank you very much, Sarah. Burger and we are almost similar. We all can't hurt anybody. Let me tell you something. That's why when they had those incidences with the death of those auditors and things, I did a podcast right away. I had not spoken to George up to that time, from 2004. But I went in his defense because I know him. If y'all go to do it, y'all do it. But I'm not inside. Y'all who covering up this thing, that y'all will handle it. But y'all will get there one day, mark this day. The day George will ready get there, he will talk. Y'all will not believe that he. The next thing you are seeing dancing. He will do that, he will go and make fun. Then you come to Woman Burger. Woman Burger is documenting all that thing where how you call them, the people that are doing the corruption and thing. They can play all the games they want to play. Joseph Burger is documenting them. His memoir will be reviewed. I can tell that. I can say that. Okay. Grisby is very good with paper. So the documentation there, Grisby is the one that writing. You want to know if Burger will come out? If you come after, if Liberian people come after Joseph Burger and say Joe Burger, you want to arrest or we indicting you, Joe Burger will take your paper and say all the things that he see, not talking because it's not him. Let me tell you, that's how I feel about him, and that's how much I know. I work with his wife at the GSA. Okay, so that it will come out, but it will be done in writing.
It will probably be something in a memoir form, like in a book form.
Exactly. That's exactly what Joseph Burger is going to do. I can tell you that. And only to tell you that Mrs. Sirleaf too was like a mother to me. She went to school with my father.
Okay. So I wanted to ask too, another question I want to ask is, what do you think? Do you think like for example, I heard you talk about we are, sometimes will be reserved. I don't want to say certain things, or I heard you talk about the team, i.e. Do you really think when he went to prominence, when he gained prominence in the soccer field, do you think he gave IE the much needed help that he really needed, or what would you think? Was it fair and balanced, or what would you think?
In my opinion, he did not. You see, because with his anger on the monetary issue, you see, let me tell you, George is somebody in a 5 cent business. You and him will make flour for you. I can tell you that much. 5 cents. Because he feels.
You don't think he has grown out of it? Maybe
I beg you, my dear. I know the man. Okay. That man, once you go to him first and you tell him, say, oh, the money that they gave, it was supposed to be like they was supposed to divide it like that, he will forget about everything and come and spearhead the revolt. Now, if George Weah did something for IE, maybe he bought a few jerseys from what I heard, but he could have done more. He could have done more. Look.
I'm not trying to interrupt you here, but don't you think the focus is too much on him? There are other professional players from IE too. Why couldn't they have done more than him?
You see, these guys, let me tell you something very good. They all fight one another. they will come out and tell you, oh, you think I'm stupid? I can't pay my money. Then Joe will always say, oh, I'm a stupid man. I'm not going to pay my money. And when that word comes from their mouth, you can deal with them. You're wasting your time. There were other guys that went pro. Look, one of Timalin's friends, he has a PhD right here, a footballer now. Isaiah Lincoln. He's a PhD. So you know his salary base is no less than $75,000 to $100,000.
Right.
Why can't he give IE $15,000 or $5,000? There's somebody I love dearly, we migrated from Firestone, but he would sit down and say, oh, but Joe, we are making the president. That's how the footballers are when you are with them. You see? So George would not come in there and just say, oh, let me take it. No. But if he and Board Charles could coordinate, fine. I read something down here, but that's not true. What the president wrote. Tupin got nothing to do with Board Charles and John, we have trouble. She ain't got nothing to do with it. For me, I can take any bullet for IE business. They all know that. You know.
So, but let me say, how to call it? But have there ever been a time, because when all the players were going professional and so forth, that you guys who are handling IE, just like, you know, let's try to get them together, reach out to them and see how best they can build this foundation for this team.
Like some kind of IE reunion or something like that.
Something like that, okay. And then furthermore, too, when President Weah was president, you guys ever made because let me say this too, though. I was one of the founding members of CDC. I one of the founding members, and some of the IE folks, some of the players too. I remember we had they resisted us. They said they weren't going to support. They weren't supporting us at the time. At that time, Samuel Twe, James Scully, Piso, we were the late Patrick Sawyer and other folks were not into the IE and the Liberian football politics. We were all concerned about our political party and we're doing this thing. But met resistance where people said, I beg you, you know, I know there are some players too. Let be frank though. I would say this. I was living in Rhode Island, and I remember vividly. Twe came to see me that weekend, and we're there. We met. I won't cook out. Bocha and Twe myself. We talked for more than 3 hours. We're trying to recruit Bocha to join us. Bocha's gave a reason why he can't join. CDC can't support. No reason. So after that, when he left to go Liberia, everything I told him, I was stuck by that day. I told him, I said, look, you're going, do me a favor. Just don't attack our Kennedy with Karen, right? Don't leave it. But to my surprise, and mind you now, I had told the president that's what I told say, well, we are able to get it, man. But then, I told him how he might try to reach out to. So that morning, I remember I don't know where that morning when he was coming from a Grand Crew, I think, on the campaign. He come, he said, "Oh, my man, the mayor say he said, when I'm attacking me, I was here, Danisha Sigbe.
Yeah,
they went to Verita and attacked him, and I think I heard it because the crowd was so mild there, and they passed them through the back door to get all the Veritas. So, and that's one thing. I want to think that we encountered there. I would say that so encounter they attacked, but so I felt that. If you have nothing good to say about somebody, you got to support the person. Just believe it. But to attack, well, political campaign, we're running our race, so we're making our pushing there, and then they attack our candidate, and so. But that's the thing. Well, and then, but then, lastly, before I let you speak, I was in Liberia. When he told me one morning, he said, he called me. First, could also call me. Say, oh, the president say, yeah, you're president now. He said, you might come to him. He having a program, a program mission. You might come along for the program. And at that time, what the program was for? Watch out being installed as president of the Pinzo Old Time Association. Diba over there. In fact, Diba was sitting with the crowd. Then we said, well, what Diba doing? Let him can sit down. Oh, yeah. And remember, we all sat down there. We all sat together there. And then he took part in our program. He gave money there. We left. So I don't want to give these context, but it was, I mean, maybe you can dwell more on it.
Well, you see, I will start with Diba and Wea. From my own perspective, they actually created that rivalry in the mid-80s, when President Doe was in charge. Okay, but let's remember here that Doe loved Barrow to his grave. Because I will tell you something, if you look at his execution tape, one of the shows that Doe was escaping in, the Barrow shows. So for us, the IE people, we notice all of those things. It's a white bear with red stripes. Barrow wore that for international matches. Okay, that's what Doe was going on with. Bochas did not have any of the big guy besides the Grady Addison or Uruguay in our cycles. But Dr. The VP for Doe, Moneyba, Doc will support us on our hand. The Joseph Burger, you're sitting down there looking at big football fan. He was supporting a thing called Black Stars. But he didn't want nobody to know. I say so. Okay? Because we all know each other. Okay? But that confusion, if it is reconciliation, I will come to Monrovia, I will try, I will attempt. But I know my only other son, it's not easy. But Bochas reached out, and I can tell you, it's something. The two of them, most of the games the national team played at that time. Look, one game they played, but it was IE versus, I think, Fulani. Because Joe Nangbe was influenced not to make passes to Joe Bochas.
Oh.
I'm telling you something. That's what I told you. I said, you don't know the politics there.
Wow.
Everyone got politics.
Bochas was open. Joe Nangbe driver. The goalkeeper slipped. You know what Joe did? He flung the ball outside. Sitoli called him. You know what he said to me? He said, "Oh, you want me to pass ball to Bochas so you can score?" That's how deep you guys are. That's how deep they are. So when you're dealing with them, we know. Sitoli that only match for what they mean for Joe. We are Sitoli didn't play with him. He made him to sweat, but he died.
Sitoli died?
Yeah. Sitoli used him. Let me tell you some water. Sometimes he can't put the water to his mouth. He tired. Okay, so that thing there is tougher than that. The thing you're talking about, the incident you're talking about with him and Danisha, yeah, you see, Danisha is a military boy. So you got to weigh the pros and the cons. But Danisha is a big IE man. They all that went to Black Stars were all Majestic players. Okay. So the thing between them is somebody has to bring them, like y'all say, bring them together on one forum, and we can sit down and iron up this thing. But the place it is.
Somebody's asking me, they said, where is this guy? James Sumo. They call him IE Sumo. Where is he?
I think James Sumo, he's in Monrovia. He's the guy that was on Facebook begging for help, I think. I don't know.
Yeah. They said he's he's a IE veteran. SOS call for him. They've been asking.
Yeah, he been asking. He's in Monrovia in the Fiamma era, but he was like a medic. He didn't play for IE. He never played, but he loves IE. He goes to bed in yellow t-shirt. Yeah.
So we'll be opening the lines. People want to call to interact with you. So Myean, get ready.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Myean, put the phone lines, put the numbers on the play. We can ask questions. Put my number there too.
I don't know. It's not ready. It's just my concern because right now I think that a lot of IE players still lingering in Liberia or in Monrovia for the fact, and a lot of them, some of them don't have support. Some of them need help and stuff like that. So do you really think that you guys can organize like a reunion kind of thing wherein you can establish some leadership that would take care of some of these things that some of the old players, including the new players, are facing. Because I is a like a house. I am Barrow, like a household name in Liberia. A lot of us grew up with those teams. To see that some of the players are gonna, some of them are, need help and they can't get the help, and some of the players, this team brought up a lot of heroes, a lot of good players. So, the other players that didn't get to that point where they are, I think there should be some leadership or something that can help other people down the line. Do you think you guys can establish something like that? Or is it too late, or you guys can still do it?
I think some of us who are around could take that initiative and we can do it. Okay. But if Tomalin can recollect the Rhode Island, I grew up in Rhode Island. I went to school there. That's where we started IE Barrow rivalry in America. Then all of a sudden we pulled it down to Trenton and it got bigger. There was a match where we went against Diba. The older guys, who couldn't give account of the gate intake. You see? So for us to pull them together, I gave my house up to Eric Daniel, a guy called Eric Daniel, Vince Jones, to name a few. Those boys are fighting very hard in Monrovia to scrape. In fact, those guys are basketball players. Okay, we can do it. But the powerhouse, there are two powerhouses that we got right there.
Which two powerhouses?
Butchers and George. If we can get them into it, I can bring Lydia in. You bring Lydia will spoil the whole thing.
General?
What we call the general. You bring all that, will cost everybody. You bring Tony Clay, the same thing. So,
hey man, where is she? What a strong are you want to
Philadelphia?
Tony Clay, where's she?
I think Tony is in Texas.
Wow.
But these are people who don't think their blood is red. Then when it comes to putting them with with Barrow, hey, my sister, don't worry. When you get to PHP, they finish with you. But to bring these guys together will be the only solution I see right now.
I think you guys should do it. I think it's possible, and I think it's really going to help the other players, down the line that are struggling and they didn't get to, start them as they are, to be able to help them. I think that would be a good thing. Somebody need to start it.
Thank you so much, because there's some guy in Claretown right now. There's another guy that played with them, Nelson Sumper.
Oh yeah.
Sumper is, they say, I think he moved down to Grand Crew now. Tia is in Logan Town, no food.
Yeah, man.
Tia
Fogofo?
Tia Fogofo. No food. So these guys, some of us will want to come and say, let's talk to them. But for me, the Georgia and Butchers, that's where we are right now. Look at the sponsors that
the last time I was in a company, I saw them hugging, and maybe it was fake, but that day we gave $10,000 to the association. I was there where he was being installed as president, and he spoke there, and from there they were all there, took pictures and things. Yeah, I don't know, but maybe something else though. But
I think these guys are just named like Eric Daniels and the other guys. They're trying to organize something like Sarah just said. If we can meet in Monrovia and just put it on the air. Let's see who will give us a surprise visit.
Exactly. Yeah, you gotta try. You gotta try. Those that are IE fans will do what we can do. Those are those that are, we can encourage our Barrow people to help. It's give and take. But something has to be done in order to help the other players down the line that are struggling,
You see, the thing here, Sarah, is that the current administration, the past two administrations, they are not into football like that. And then with this European League, it has overshadowed
Oh yeah.
our local league.
That's
Like
true.
before,
That's true.
we used to go out to go and scout. We'll go as far as Newcruton, Clarendon, Bomhill. I mean, remember, to go and scout. The county league produced a lot of players.
Yeah.
Okay. All of the guys that we brought in, we intended to help them to change their lives. That was some of us. That was our objective. But most of the boys are in town, like you said. Lasana is not well. He's on it. He's right there to Maningo Greya. How many times have they gone?
Well, keep your calls coming. You guys can call. We have Mr. George Telewola on the phone as our guest tonight. Mr. Telewola is a Liberian historian, not only soccer, but you can ask him questions about Liberia. And I mean, I think 2 weeks ago we were talking on the phone. I was on the phone, calls coming. I refused to answer the call because I was getting food about Liberia alone. That country is deep.
It's very deep.
Very deep. And it's become a lot of things happen in that country. That's where today we are. We backwards still, and he always said, well, maybe now it said maybe the next generation who know would rescue that country, but Liberia is still far from being rescued, still far from being where we ought to be. But numbers are on the screen. You can call this number, the Liberian number, the WhatsApp number. You can call the number and ask your questions. Engage Mr. Telewola. He's a former team manager of IE. He was there during the days of the former president we have during IE days. And but Mr. Telewola, while we're waiting for the calls to come in, when the calls come, just let me know.
So let me also announce the caller for the radio.
Yeah, this program is live on the radio too in Liberia, so just so everybody know. Okay, so I see one of your Lone Star player, Anthony's the former national captain, Anthony Lafo is watching too. He asking, he's saying between IE and Barrow, who won more games in the 80s? Yes, Anthony Snotty Lafo, one of the winners. Yeah, he played in South Africa, the South African club.
Of course, you know. You know where Answer is going, but
what year Sensumo playing for IE and be all 9 times?
Sensumo was beating Barrow.
That one I was on. Every
84,
1-0.
83.
How many times? What we do? If you play the game good all day, sometimes else gonna go. The game off. 1-0. They call it semi Barrow straight.
Yep, 82, 83, I think. And Sam was a striker, a rare striker, and that was the way it is. I beat most of. What happened here is that the I people were funny. Okay, the whole league, they will only concentrate on beating Barrow. Let me tell you today, they will not. So you say IE versus Barrow, anything the regular league, which was 2 points, Barrow will accumulate her points. But I will give the edge to IE.
TM now, but you told me, you talked about one game, right? You said, I think you told me the game. You said it was an away game, and you said they postponed French. Unknown caller. Yeah, somebody calling for the first caller coming. Okay, go ahead, caller. You're live.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, go ahead. You live.
Yeah, I'm Sylvester Pewee. I'm calling from North Dakota.
Okay.
So hello to you and the studio girls. Mr. Telewola, I would like to know, first of all, does Invincible 11 have asset? Take, for example, Lane. The second thing is, you made a statement that I read. Even though I did not start the program, you said, Weka keeps crush. But yesterday,
no, he didn't.
We were hearing
he didn't say that. He didn't say
never said that, not me.
Okay, well, now I'm sorry. I was confused.
He said, Guar keeps a diary.
They keep a diary. Yeah.
All right. Let's look at the Invincible 11 as I previously stated. How can that kind of old team, Invisible 11, I and Barrow, they don't have asset? And I was listening to they saying yesterday, Tomalin Joy, when you were interviewing someone on the show, and a person admitted that they don't have asset. How can you think should we contemplate on Invisible 11 stay, or we should focus on the new existing teams? Because they had the opportunity, they did not make use of the opportunities. Why we can't contemplate on the new teams? Thank you. That question, my concern.
That's all. We don't have any access. We
another caller, please, Mr. Another caller. Go ahead, caller. The phone busy now.
Hey, how you doing?
Go ahead.
Okay, my name is Ezekiel Freeman. I'm calling from the state of Myean.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I'm also a fan of IE. Let's see the problem we have. The problem we have in Liberia with activities is that those who really administer the affair they put in Liberia, they don't lay down the groundwork for the future. So I mean, everything is just the presence. So like other dudes in different countries. Most of those things they have businesses, they establish businesses. I mean that continuously take care of the teams. But we don't have that in Liberia. So my question to the veteran is that what is your thought towards that in or on the new coming generation and the presence?
So we have someone on the line. Hello, caller Nima, where do you call from?
I call from Liberia, Brown County.
Okay, make your point.
My name is Michael Peter, calling from Brown County, Liberia.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so just to make my input concerning the number of times Mighty Barrow was defeated by Invisible 11 was the 1984-85 season, where Barrow was defeated 9 times. But coming to the season, the end of the season, there was a major international tournament involving 3 teams: Mighty Barrow, Invisible 11, and Harper Jerusalem from Israel. The Ball Master tournament. It was when Barrow won all 2 teams and won the trophy, and Sabinsa James Diba rose to become a star from that moment until the time he retired.
Okay, thank you. So you can put your course in 07776.
I would like to answer the question. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
07649.
I'll take the first one, which has to do with the access. We, the Invincible 11, bought land where the market is right now. The red light market, not the red light, Omega market. Lawrence Doe bought that land. He had a walk. But when the war came, we don't know what happened to the D and whatever.
We have another caller.
I visited the land. We only have about 1 lot vacant. Somebody had built on it. In reference to the current generation, I think the boys that I just named, Eric and his group, they are discussing the same thing, that we must put something in that will generate income. I had a store before, but again, mismanagement. The war took everybody by surprise. And then prior to the war, people who were running IE were strong in politics and wanted to remain in politics. So they did it from their pocket. Nobody was thinking that you would go to Tomalin or to George or to the president, go to John Bear, go to this guy, and everybody was just doing it for popularity at the stadium.
Yeah. So what happened? That you were talking about that game where I think people spoke French and they decided to cause the game. Something you're talking about. It happened away.
We had gone to Boaké.
Boaké, okay.
Okay, I said went to Boaké. the game was scheduled for Abidjan
Okay.
because IE had defeated Mimosa. I said Mimosa.
Mimosa, yeah.
So all we needed was either a draw, or if they had to, if we lost the game, it would just be by 1 or 2. We're still qualified. And what the Ivorians did prior to our departure from Monrovia, okay, the Ivorians sent their officials into Liberia. Our national security picked them up and informed us, but we did not pay attention to it because with the caliber of players that we had, okay, then they started to promise some of our local players, or either after the game, they will recruit them, they will do this, to go and play for Mimosa. Okay.
Wow.
And that was how, when we got in there, all hell broke loose. I don't want to call the president name because he's one of my personal issue, but I walk on them and they were talking. To this day, he still said no, but why were they there? Including even the coach. They hurt Raymond Moulton prior to his death. If you are seeing his face, you will see. The reason they got Moulton out, because the deal that was struck with the substitute goalkeeper we had. So we had no other cause but to bring him in. Today, they didn't even recruit him. He's in France. Now, Moulton had to take stitches, and that was how we lost the game.
So the players then decided to make deal with the Ivorians just to play for them.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm saying it. I was part of the association, and I was empowered by Lawrence Doe. I was empowered. I could say anything and make any decision. Patrick Emerson, it will come.
All the players were not involved. Only a few were involved in that deal.
No, you see, the thing here is, they pick certain players in certain position. I was telling you about the suspension of Borchas, Simon Mata, and one other player with Sparrow game.
Oh yeah, the time they jumped the fight.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was another one. You see, what happened? IE is up by 6 points. Barrow is down by 4 points. So, if IE beats Barrow, the league is over.
Yeah. So
we go in there. We already knew we only needed a draw. The referee called for a penalty because somebody did a headbutt. He said they used their hands. That we drew the game. So that meant Barrow were going to come up to us by 2 points, additional point. But how we won the game, nothing. The last 5 minutes of the game, a pass was made to Azetier. Instead of kicking the ball, he picked the ball up and they put it in. It's 2 minutes to the end of the game. Is there a time for that? So, like I told you, I called Borchas. He was acting captain. And I told him, I said, Charlie, we can't take this. So we contacted Lawrence. Lawrence told me, he said, do what you want to do. But I'm fed up with this. I'm disgusted and I'm this and blah, blah, blah. That's when the police came down with a tear gas and the fighting broke out.
Yeah, I think I watched that game. The referee was so smart. I think that was Jacob Jito.
Jacob Jito.
A small referee. They got an referee that day.
The thing about it was that Jacob Jito was protected by all the people that were around Jacob Jito, the police. That's also IE police. Let me tell you something. So IE police, the Dolomar, the this, the that, all of them, they went and grabbed him and just turned him. And Jacob knew me personally. So I just told Charlie, I said, you know what, I let go. But they stormed the whole field. But had it not been for the tear gas, maybe it would have been worse.
Wow.
And it was after that, the reason I brought that up to your question, what it did. For IE and Barrow to meet in the final, they suspended Borchas, they suspended Simon Mata, they suspended Raymond Moulton. Okay, these were our key players. So, Paul Mala said that. So, as Guar would put it, the Ivorians came in town to play, and Samuel Doe had gone to watch a game. And he asked for ball charts because the guy they called Sekou Bama was doing this, doing that. And when he asked for ball charts, they said, "Oh, you signed ball chart suspension." He said, "No, I never signed ball chart suspension." But he didn't know that ball chart was called Jonathan Sumbe. You see?
Yeah.
That was the game. It's not just appearing. The game, you got to look at it from all angles, especially with African football.
Okay, Myean, the calls can come in. Why the calls come in? Let me be asking Mr. Sure, can come in anytime. But the issue with Samuel Doe, I remember there was a game, Duke Doe or Big Barrow Man, and the whole IE team they played that Doe. Doe when I shake your hand and you're just bad and you refuse to shake his hand.
I knew that question. That question was coming. Yeah,
So
what
we have
happened? I knew it was coming because
This might have called.
This is Martin. I call from another.
what we had there was that the IE people.
1 minute, somebody call. Ask a question. Call on the line. Go ahead, call on.
I started watching football. I'm one of the long time guy who started watching football at 8 years. I started watching football game at 8 years when they were actually boring fee.
Yeah, ask the question. Out of time. Yeah, ask the question, please. Myean, ask the question.
We used to go around the field when somebody score, we run to the person, and then we leave the person, the police will come and beat everybody from around the field. So that's just not business. But he talked about Saint Smoke, but I want him to talk about Kogogle. You know the guy called Kogogle? Kogogle used to come in maybe 15 minutes to the game. And when he comes in, he to make a difference. And he used to be IE so many times. I want you to elaborate on that.
Okay, thank you. You can put the course in 0777
Okay. Mr. Whether you can go ahead and explain what you're explaining. Yeah.
I know you want the Kogogle story.
No, I want the do for it.
Well, what happened was that, you see, Tony Clay, Lydia, Bowie Sway, Solomon George, you don't joke them. So it was alleged that Doe had medicine in his hand from Barrow. So if you shook those hands, that means the medicine will be passed down to the players. So that was the only reason. When we got ready to go to Ivory Coast, Doe said Air Liberia should take us. The IE camp was stormed. If we ride Air Liberia, when we come back, they will beat us at the airport. And you couldn't underestimate Bowie. Bowie will cause a big chaos in the street and take off.
But Bowie was a juju man. He was a juju man, Bowie.
No, I medicine, not medicine we used to make. They just go take water, put leaf inside. Bowie used to eat the money. You see, that's why one time the players jump on Bowie. Okay, they said he should go play. He will go and take water from down the road, bring it and put all kind of leaf inside, and come with all kind of things. That was Bowie. You see, that was the essence of the Samuel Doe refusal to shake his hands, because he said something was in his hand that Barroco gave.
Sorry, you got a question? Go ahead.
I just enjoying the stories, that's all.
Oh, yeah, enjoy it. When I call it man,
when you get with them, those days when you get among them, you enjoy the fun. We had all kinds of jokes. And like one of the men you got on right now, John Kev, we never call him by his real name. We had a name for him, So it was just like that. But
so let me ask you. They say in football, Bennett, woman Bennett was involved. So all the woman Bennett, they play there. How you also handle the thing with woman Bennett? Because they said some of the confusion I care about.
No, business.
So I mean,
I know where you're going, but I'm not going there.
Thank you.
I'm not going there. But I can tell you one thing is that the players, they will chase any woman they see. That one day. So we had to come up with some kind of law to say, oh, you know, you can't do that, you can't do that. But where you going? I can't go there. And that's the crux of the matter.
But then somebody I just said, what happened with Diba and we are any related?
No, what my business?
No, I don't know. I think that thing came from Europe with
Okay.
Diba and we are, because Salins is kind of like a private person, you know. So I really don't know, because at that time the manager they had was CDB and he was with them in Europe. I really don't know. But
Okay, I got one email on the phone. Okay. Go ahead, Chairman.
How you doing?
Bien Kesali.
Oh, Bien. Yes, sir. How you doing?
I'm well.
Oh, Bien, how you been?
All-time IE team manager.
Thank you.
I want to ask you, Big Brother. We are in the chat room, the IE chat room, and we have been trying to raise money for IE for years now. And I should give it up to Iwe Daniels. He's doing his best. Senator, what his name? Senator from Colorado County. He came on
Sir Joseph
to become president of IE, and in less than 1 year, he disappeared from the scene. And it's been really tough to get the whole IE team going. If you talk to all the IE players from the 80s and to the time you left that period, you are one of the most respected senior brothers that everybody loves and respects. So I want to ask you to take the lead. Let's put IE back. Okay? If you talk to Tony Bengu, you talk to even the podcast where IE Morrow had a conversation. And you talk to Sebo Matter, you talk to everybody else. And it is you that everybody looking up to now to see if you can bring IE back. And senior brother, you get my support. Once you take on that initiative, we'll support you. And then to end, I want you to draw an IE team, an all-time IE team from 1980 to 1989. Here are IE best 11 tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good one. Yeah, thank you. He said the all-time IE best 11.
Boy. In goal.
In the goal.
What about my crazy son? He in Atlanta, man.
Cretin?
No, not Cretin. We got him from Topa, Anthony Topa.
Gata, yeah.
Yeah. In goal, I will give Anthony Topa, and substitute, I will give Boy Cooper. And I will tell you why. If you saw the game against the Sierra Leone team that came, there was a guy who was acting like a monkey. I missed 3 of those penalties. And Topa stood up there and said, we're not done yet. He saved 5 penalties. If Topa was somebody who could put his head on his shoulder when it comes to the game, that boy would have been in Europe. Paul Cooper, we all know when he came to IE, it was late now. So those are on the field of play. I never liked Oriba, but the IE fan liked Oriba. The reason was that Oriba was a destroyer, and all they had in the back of their head was for Oriba to hurt, but James Salinsa. And Salins is very slippery. So that was why he was scoring those kind of goals, because he knew Oriba would just drop. Well, we all know Sima Mata is the ace in the defense. And then my other defense will be Thomas Freeman, We needed him for the speed and the height. In the midfield, Chiniki Kehleboe in the midfield. On the far left, you use the Ghana boy, he died.
Ben Motti.
Ben Motti. Ben Motti play football. Then George Weah goes 7. Borchers go 9. That's my starting 11. Okay. George Weah is an entertainer. You know, I listen to Dr. Your other man, Dr. Tenney. That is that any?
Lester Tenney.
Yeah, he can call George Weah the monk. George Weah is a monk. I know that. When you're dealing with George, you got to put your cap on 2 times before you meet him. So you put him on the left. But Barrow has always put up a strong defense. Washington Blade and one other boy used to play number 2. They gave us heart attack. I can't think of his name, but yeah, he played for Barrow. He was playing 2. Not Friday, Rabo.
Oh, not William Gray?
No, not William. William Gray, we didn't want to see him kicking penalty. He can't miss.
Yeah, it was a good penalty kick.
Yeah, but this boy was, I think he was from Grangie there, but small guy. Alex Steele.
Yeah.
Alex Steele. We didn't want him. We didn't like him. We had to find a way.
Wow.
Now, so, to your question about coming back, my man, at 75-year-old now, wow, I'm going to Montreal to go run beyond.
Looking good, for 75, looking good.
Yeah, you're looking really good.
Yeah.
Really
to go run beyond football.
Yeah, but no, we're almost out of time. But let me ask you this, though. I think we discussed it. The Barrow IE Union, I mean, what can you guys do? And I think if you guys can agree, I know July 26 is right near the corner, but to what being said, right? We can get it started like this. To bring back the Barrow IE game. I know right now it has been diverse. They play in various states, but if we say we're having a central game for the year will be in Trenton or in Pennsylvania, you can do it. I mean, the old players will not play, most of the guys old now, but just the name, and, you bring back the game, right? To say, well, the Barrow IE Union can meet, and if you want for a cause to raise fund, the IE Barrow we announce it. They will support that game. And because when I came to the States, when they raised the money, people were sharing the money among themselves. But nowadays, everybody's eyes open. I broke the game away. But if you guys can agree to say, look, let us meet and start meeting or organize the Barrow IE game just July 26th to get it going. Because the teams in Liberia are suffering. I'm telling you, what Ben said is true though. The team, to see Barrow IE have been relegated to 2nd division and talk about, I heard yesterday the LFA vice president say, Liberia Chamberlain, I wanted to go FC Hassel. I mean, can you imagine? So that what everybody, but if you can reunite, reinvigorate that Barrow IE spirit, where they come back to of ages. I can tell you this though, most of the European League team people, well, we know went to the game. Sarah also went to the game. We saw the game when the Barrow IE on Sunday. People leave everything today. That European game, who do you talk about European game? Because when the African Club Championships are being played, people come and scout our players for them and carry them in Europe to play. But because all of these things they're not there again today, our team are struggling. But if you guys can reunite and bring the IE Barrow spirit in America, where everybody can get involved. I saw one time they play one Barrow IE game. The people were so jam-packed. People say, the game too soon. But just imagine you're bringing it back. So, Mr. Talawuda, please, today you're on the national media, on people listening in Liberia, on the radio, all over the world. Can you please commit that you will call the Barrow people then you can organize the Barrow IE game for 26 to bring us back the glory days?
We are thinking about it. Mabu and I are kind of concerned. He was here with me 2 weeks ago. But I'm being very frank with you, Tomalin. I can only do such a thing. I mean, I know I work, and people like Myean know what we did. I love the team, and it hurts me. The particular game that you're talking about that was played in Central Jersey, we were told it was $40,000.
Yes.
That was made. Okay. What happened to the money? Okay. So then, how will you keep putting money or running after Sunday? Somebody came to me and lied to me and told me George Weah say he will only play except I put him in hotel. I'm gonna put George Weah in hotel. George Weah got his own hotel. The man can walk anywhere and they will give him free room. The game you're talking about now to go.
That person was probably just using his name.
Yeah. Yeah, because there were many police officers that went down there just to take pictures with him. Okay? Just to take pictures. Look, I have a sister in Europe. Okay? I've been talking to her to see what we can do to promote it. But the government too has to get involved. Because that's the only place on our football field where you can talk to any minister freely without them telling you, wait. That one thing. The second thing, the transportation system in Liberia, after the games, for these guys to come home, the motorboy and Pempe, you see, then you got the European game. What I'm saying, if we can delay the signals on the European games on some days, the people will come. Liberians, they love entertainment. Then you got a park. Okay? Now, you do that. When I was growing up, for them to get people into that stadium, I remember USTC you collect the Coca-Cola cap from 1 to 10. But number three was scarce. So if you came from 1 to 10 complete, you could get a bicycle. It even went as far as a Toyota Corolla. I know somebody who won it. You know, government has to bring some of these things in. These boys, you tell them, say, after 2 games, there will be a draw for a motorcycle. They will come. But right now, the 2 clubs are not making money, and the people who are supposed to get up there, they don't want to put their money up. You see?
So how can start in the U.S., in the diaspora area?
Well, it has to take a collective thing. It has to take you on the media, and then try to push it. If we can push it, we're coming. I'm more than sure the Barrow group. Barrow has been different when it comes to organization. I talk about the team. They are together. When one man speaks, that's it. That's how they were. Okay? So we can do it if we really want to do it.
I can commit if you can organize the Barrow I Union. We can host them here. Once we host them either on a Saturday or Sunday.
I can't do this because I'm on my way to somewhere.
Yeah, I know, but if we organize them before, we still got July Cup. If July turns against stay far, we just enter June. So if you decide to organize the Barrow IE to come in, we'll host them and then we can take it from here. I can tell you though, if we're serious to do it and we announce it, well, IE Barrow Union will be meeting on the closing argument, will be raising money to organize that game. I can tell you, Liberian people, they will put their money to their football. Where you say you play the game in Trenton, where it costs money to get a stadium, to get the referees and to ref the game and the players them to organize the teams to get them to play. Yeah, it will say you come on your target. Say, well, if you guys can organize and they can start from there. Maybe through that, you can start to help the team in like, bro, it's okay. They proceed on the game. We'll send them to the 2 teams and so forth, get on them too and so forth. But if you guys can commit, say you meet the Barrow Union people, say, well, we organize, we're gonna meet, we'll come right here. And you guys can make an appeal to the Barrow IE fans around the world. I'm sure. You see today, people who don't usually watch closing argument, I see them watching because of your presence. And you're talking about soccer. And one thing, soccer unite people together. You bring us together. Yeah. Like you just said. Yeah. When they're on soccer field, you see minister then they can talk to people because I know where everybody will meet. Yeah. You see?
Well, Tomalin, I got 5 days left. And with BL's request when I come back.
Okay.
That I can do. I mean, we can do a long-range plan, try to get Eric Daniel and his boys, because they are thinking the same light, and then we can try to negotiate with the former players in the tri-state, for example, and start with the tri-state, New York, Delaware, New Jersey, and proceed from there. But it is possible.
Yes.
But again, I might make it my bounden duty to find Mr. George Weah and Mr. Borchas. I will definitely make it my duty.
Well, I'm sure you watch. I sent the former president this link. And so
he did. I know.
He watching it. I send the link to watch this too. I'm sure. But
I know.
and so people watching. Everybody will show their face.
I got a quick question.
I know you there.
Mr. Talawola, I got a quick question. I mean, you know, in everything, it's good to organize and everything, but sometimes, you know, things will get broken down if you don't have people who are honest at the helm of everything. And I'm talking about in terms of money. But now, how are you talking about, you know, some tournament you had and over 40,000 you collected? What happened to the money? So these are some of the concerns. I mean, if you don't have honest people to handle that money, all of your efforts will go in vain, because the target, which is the players and other teams in Liberia that you want to cater to, you will not be able to cater to them because you don't have people who are honest to be able to handle the money to get things done. So, you know, I'm just cautioning you guys, if you decide to do it, get people up there that will be able to do the right thing so that you don't be scratching your head again, because you know how our people are when it comes to money business. You know, that's just my caution.
I take that into consideration, but like I said, when I come back, but this July 26th is late because we have to start from the back and come. Those two people there, we have to get something. When I might, well, you know, the farewell party I have for Mr. We are at my house, Bocha, when I think Bocha were even there when you were leaving those days. Imagine way back then, you know. So this time we got to sit down somewhere. If he's watching, I will go to him. He can put me under a house, but I know he can't.
Yeah, that's great.
But I will go to him and we'll sit down and we'll scrutinize this thing. But my old man, I'm not campaigning for anybody. I am just George, and the old man know that. But I can tell you, Joseph Baga got his diary, and he keeping all that thing you're talking.
So we got black folk. But yeah, but you know. But you know, Mr. Talawola, I want to say thank you, man. We appreciate you taking your time on your Sunday where you have been to some cook out, but you decided to come and help to come and sit with us. We appreciate you, and want to give you your parting comments to us and to those watching. And but it won't be the first time. We'll bring you back again. I mean, so very soon again. But I'm sure this show tonight will provoke a lot of questions. People are telling me right now they really enjoy your presence. They really appreciate. Hope you could do anything often, but you know it's not easy. Myself, so do.
I'm gonna enjoy it because a lot of history I learned on there, especially with diary and stuff.
A lot of people learn a lot from you. A lot from you. We heard what Joe first junior was capturing what.
I beg you. I hold you for. I want to go to Liberia. I want to go through the airport before Ms. Baga stop me. He said, "Oh, bringing you."
We had a lot of fun tonight, and we appreciate you, man. And I really feel so. I'm so happy that you show up, and you've been planning it for a long time, but it won't be the first time. On time, Mr. Uncle Herman Jones. I want to say thank you to watching. Yeah, he was one of those who helped me to get to you, because I've been trying to get to you for a long time. And Mr. Herman Jones, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and for really linking me up to Mr. Talawola. Mr. Talawola, I really appreciate you, and I want you to 75-year-old. I see nothing. I see you look 75, and we know you'll be here for another more 50 years with us. Well, we got to make it happen. We got to hear the story and continue to hear the story about our soccer and our country. So again, you can give your parting comments about. We appreciate you so much.
Well, I would like to say thanks to the new generation and to the new generation of football players around the world. Everybody is going out there now to look for contracts. But what I say to them is, first, you need discipline, hard work, and training. Not because you play 1 or 2 games and people clap for you and you say you all that. I saw this Langford guy. I was in Liberia last year. He's good. I think he's playing somewhere in Asia or Europe. I don't know. But the boys have to train. And I tell you the truth, those boys that played football in the 80s, they were well-trained, disciplined. There was a guy they called Kejani. Kejani will never tell you about 10 laps. He's telling you 15 laps. You see, Kehleboe, same thing. So it takes courage. You have to make up your mind if that's what you want to do, if you're going to play the football. To be frank, I'm here today because of football. If I was not with IE, I would have been killed. I was an offender. They caught me. But in no time, people came out to say, "Oh, IE team manager." I was like, "Oh, All the way I tried to disguise myself because I was working for government then. And football has communicated with people all over the world. Mr. Weah, when he sent me a ticket when I was stuck somewhere in Liberia, no source of income. That's the friendship and the bond that we put together. Bochas sent people through rebel lines to come to Fender and take me. But because of my experience in Wake with that IE game, I sent a message back by the Red Cross to Bochas. So I tell all the young guys, if you want to do it, you have to do it right. Exercise, train hard, and you got to be, the money will come. Trust me, the money will come. We have started with $20. Okay, the money will come. Okay, Bochas, $20. The max they got. Okay, when I went to Firestone, I started with $40 out of high school. But today, I am where I am. You know, it takes hard work and determination. And I say to all of you, government need to participate into the sports. Go down to the stadium. It will bring the people there. I know that for a fact. So thank you very much, Timothy. I know I got a little brother now because he didn't know I knew him and his whole background. But anytime, if you're in the Jersey area, give me a call. I'm here.
Thank you so much. And you have a lot of story coming from the interview today, from our interaction tonight. People are texting. Everybody know. If I somebody tell me that program continue for us, I said, come on, man. We're gonna be on this, so we'll bring him back. You know what? We'll bring him back again.
Yeah.
At least I know it. I will talk to him. Uncle Herman is very nice to me. We talk for hours. We get on the phone.
Yeah.
So we'll bring him back. Don't worry. We'll bring him back. Y'all learn a lot today because people don't know. That thing said most of the people that were born today watching, they didn't know what happened in the back that brought what we have today. They didn't know. So they get
a lot of things.
Yeah, but at least they learned a lot tonight. So
And,
thank you so
and,
much.
Right quick before you go, Waniboto did exist.
Oh, Waniboto, yeah, he existed. Now, yeah, him, me.
He did exist. Yeah, he played for IE first game, and then he played for Barrow. And first match in Liberia was IE against Cottington University. And at that time, I used to go out there and try their team against Cottington. Dr. Fode Kroma was the goalkeeper. I don't know if Vani Shema played. No, Vani was not there. Vani had a brother or cousin, Funi Shema.
But it is true that you are in hospital. He took surgery. You're living in Liberia. And he said, Waniboto to talk about it.
They wanted to leave the hospital and go play football. You got
not true, right? Oh, no, not true, right? Yeah,
so yeah, kidney problem. You see, these guys were migrating. They migrated from Ghana excessively in huge numbers. Okay, and when they came to Liberia, our free style of life is the one they just got into it, and they were all over. But Boto across the bridge there drinking after a game. You know, Jackson Weah was there. Even the great Ofori, who played for Kwame Nkrumah's team, Republican, he ended up dying in Liberia after playing here.
Wow.
You see? Yeah, he came to the States. He played for Lancet. He decided to go back. During the war, he went, and that was it. But he played for Real Republicans, the team that Kwame Nkrumah had. And that was exactly what Samuel Doe was trying to do. Let me not hold you up. But Samuel Doe wanted to do something like that Real Republican team with the boys. And then Sekou Touré had Hafia.
Yeah, Hafia Guinea.
So that was it. And those guys were all committed, very, very committed to those clubs. Yeah. All right. Good night. Thank you so much. I'll see you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you and have a good night.
So, Sarah, few minutes. What you got to say? On Tuesday, let me ask you, let me put you a direct question. Liberia is going for the bid for the Security Council bid on Tuesday. You support Liberia bid, right? Support Liberia?
Of course, absolutely.
Very good, very good.
Yeah, so, I support it 100%. I support it 100%. You know.
I hope I wouldn't hear it. The woman state should support Liberia bid.
No, don't matter if it
Yeah, Moses should support Liberia bill. I support
you think that Abu business Abu, you know, the only thing I learn about the United Party people, they think that Liberia belongs to they alone, and that's not the truth. That's not the reality. That country, that all of our country, okay. Your in leadership doesn't mean you got monopoly over everybody, everything. No, that's the reason why Joseph Boakai will have to be a good leader, because he have to be a president for all Liberians, not just United Party people. I support the bid. I mean, that's my country. Why not?
So all Liberians tomorrow, let us support Liberia bid for the Security Council seat. There's a 15
I know they're
members.
going to be passing around running when Liberia, if Liberia is successful in getting that, they'll be passing around running, trying to gain glory. But at the end of the day, they're glory not for they alone, for all of us.
But the country, it was started. The bill was started by the
real government, which they don't want to hear. They don't want to hear that. But
so
make sure with that.
Support it. Yeah, that's support.
Are we hearing it? No.
And tomorrow we have as our guest the former District 4 lawmaker, for Kima, Mariama Fofana. Interesting.
The one that defeated?
Yeah, she was a member of the Unity Party, but then when you know Liberia, I see her. She was supporting CDC.
So what's she for right now at this point?
So I think because of
so say she got say the defeated CDC should go back to United Party.
Tomorrow we'll ask her where she stand. Tomorrow we'll ask her.
I have to be on the show tomorrow, but I'll be working, but I'll be watching anyway.
But you can call. You can call. You know, you always call. Yeah, call.
Because I mean, I know. Was that her who was having the interview on the Class Reloaded?
No.
They said somebody was on the Class Reloaded talking about, that one from Lofa. I think I want from Lofa.
Look at for the Kemu. He say he support it. Look at that. He mean support it.
Everybody got that view.
Too much of that citizens are supporting it. Not everybody now. So don't say that thing.
But you see somebody thing I'm talking about.
You see what just say she's supporting it.
People like Joma Jara, they want to take glory now for something that CDC started. And they want for us to say it. Government is continuity, Joma. Okay? CDC started it. You guys are NEA. The glory goes to both CDC and United Party. Plain and simple. What do you understand?
We are on. We are kids.
Man, I'm more from them, man. I don't know what to worry about. We are so much. You better go and govern that country. You be sitting there, be worried about. We are until you feel it like brain people. You will know. One pound, I won't get you. 2029. Watch it.
Wow. Yeah. Follow my people.
All right, today. I mean, I know it. Today is Sunday.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah.
You stay in your church dress, eh?
No, I've been out of my church dress long time today.
I think you're a church form. Wow.
Yeah, have a good night. I will call you, team.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
All right.
Myean, thank you. Myean, I will tell you offline. Yeah, thank you, Myean. I appreciate you.
Okay. Thank you.
And also, how's out to the big boss, O'Neill, Asomba, Robert. Thank you, O'Neill. Thank you to Lai. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, people.
Okay.
Okay.